Hello everyone. It's been a little while, but by the standards of my previous track record, hello again. It's good to see you so soon. I have been busy and also not busy at all. Such is the lockdown way. Not to keep repeating the same boring lines that everyone's been passing back and forth for the past few months, like, time in lockdown is weird, right? What's going on? When's bin day? But also, what's going on? As someone who historically has always struggled to get out of bed and organise my life, and who has a very warped perception of the passing of time, I have struggled a bit with having no external input to gauge it. I kind of started off this whole thing being really productive and excitedly finishing loads of projects that I've been meaning to do for several months or years, but then I kind of took on more than I had time for, and it kind of all imploded, and I got very confused and didn't finish anything for several weeks, and now I'm trying to get back on track. But in the midst of all this mess of time, we have done some lovely things too. I built a really nice set of shelves into Rose's room for her. Which, yes, I have already mentioned on Twitter and my collab channel. But yes, I am disproportionately proud of them. I think they're lovely. And can't a gal just be proud of a straightforward but satisfying DIY project? Do you think I invested in 3 power tools over the past couple of years for nothing? I've been writing music a lot more since ripping off that plaster of shame that gave me newfound motivation. And although progress is slow, it has been really nice to be doing that more regularly. I'm growing familiarity with photographs I know. Generations old as their faces warp to the youth of the friends I already know. I still really don't know what my plan is in terms of sharing more current music, but I've taken a lot of the advice on board that so many of you guys gave in that video a few weeks ago, so hopefully it's not too far on the horizon. I just need to figure out how complete I want things to be without worrying too much about how complete they are. This could be a cycle, but you know, if I don't complete it, then they can't hate it. So I don't know really. How much do you want to see? Do you want song ideas? Do you want updates? I don't know if I can do that. For years now, I've been regularly using YouTube singing tutorials to try and improve my voice. So I've been like trying to identify what areas of my singing are the weakest and work on those gradually. Trying to gain more control in a bigger range and be able to sing more consistently. But obviously, one of the biggest hindrances I've always faced with that is that you can't really sing your heart out when you live in a terrace house with paper thin walls. Like, I'm just gonna guess that if we can hear our neighbours' doorbells and we quietly mutter bless you under our breaths every time we hear one of them sneeze, then we probably can't expect to have much privacy as we try to train ourselves to sing Chandelier. The usual solution to that, of course, is to sing when you're in the car. But I haven't been in the car much because it is lockdown, there's a global pandemic. I don't think I would get the privacy that I require if I was just sat in the car, just out there. Just, if anything, they can see me more. So recently, me and Lawrence went to our workplace, which is still closed, obviously, to retrieve some stuff, and we thought we'd take the opportunity to practice belting based on some advice that we'd gotten from YouTube tutorials. And it was definitely worth the several dirty looks from a lot of security guards that we got to enjoy that privilege.
I wanna swing from the chandelier. Yeah, it's like forcing it out. Here I stand in the light of day. That was lovely. Yeah, yes.
Plus, it meant that for once I could unapologetically attempt to do opera.
What is it? Ooh.
You have to try these things. Also, since I was last here, me and the house entered a cute little 48-hour film competition. They gave us a random word and a random genre as the only guidelines for it. None of us had ever done one of these types of film competitions before, but I knew for a fact, based on 15-year-old Kim's experience in college, that the last possible genre that I wanted to have to do was horror, because badly done horror is bad. And then obviously it was horror. But we made something work. Me and Lawrence acted in it, which was fun, but not something that I am proud enough of to share with the world. Our concept was nice. We got some good horror suspense in there, and we had some fake blood, you know, all your classic horror experiences. And it was really fun, if a bit stressful, to do something like that on such a strict time frame. The other entries, clearly more accustomed to that than we were, and with much better equipment. But making something like that every time, I just remember how much I enjoy making stuff with my friends. So hopefully we will do more stuff like that in the future, and probably get much faster at it, so less stressful. Another thing we made lately was I helped Ro with a sketch for Sesh, which was well fun and really funny. She made a film noir murder investigation style thing in search for some missing strawberries. She's from Wexford, so that was very important to her. And that was a fun one to play around with, because although it was a really short sketch, it had two vastly different styles of shooting in it because there was the film noir aspect of it. And of course, all of us have always had the dream of being able to make a twine and drawing pin murder investigation corkboard, so that was a fun thing to experience too. And that one, although technically I acted in that as well, it wasn't dramatic horror acting, so I will happily share that with you.
Where are my strawberries?
I'm allergic to strawberries.
I rolled Kim. I remembered that she was in fact allergic to strawberries, so if anything, I just felt sorry for her.
So I will give you a little link to that one in the comments or the description. I don't know where people put things these days. Find it. That's your challenge. Show it some love and share it with all the Karens you know on Facebook. Do we want Karens watching it? I don't know if Karens would be our target audience for that kind of thing. Although Karens love Facebook the most out of any demographic. So if anything, Karens would be the easiest to draw in. Maybe that's the thing then. You have to click on it because you have to help us get it to people that aren't Karens. Thank you for your assistance. But yeah, time is moving on at a bizarre pace. Time happens so many, actually. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. Summer is fast approaching. Every time we open a window by just a crack, the house is immediately full of flies who don't know how to do a U-turn. We also, right now, have a minor rat problem because of a variety of factors. People are always feeding the birds around here, which means that at any given moment, there are thousands of birds circling around above us, shitting on our windows and on people's cars. A few months back, I went outside to go and drive somewhere, and I got to my car and my wing mirror was just off, like just hanging off on the little stringy thing that, well, I assume it's not string, but it looked like string. And at first I just assumed that like some kids in the middle of the night had come and kicked it off for banter. But then I looked closer and it was absolutely covered in bird poop. And there were loads of like bird feathers wedged into it in weird places. And eventually I deduced. I figured out that I think actually two birds were having a fight on my car, and in all the madness, the wing mirror just got lobbed off in a huge rage. So that's an ongoing problem anyway. And not only that, but then the bits of food that surround the streets attract more foxes and rats and stuff, and then our bin bags get torn apart on bin day and then they don't get taken. And it's an ongoing battle. I am currently at war with a seagull. Originally, right, I'd hear a little shuffling by the bin bag and I'd go outside and he'd just look at me like, and I'd be like, and he'd be like, and then it got to the stage where he'd be out there. So I'd just walk towards the window and he'd be like, and then shuffle off into the night. And then it got to the stage where he knew that I'd be ready to fight him. So he'd be gradually creeping towards the bins and I'd be there like, and he'd be looking at me like a cat threatening to push something off a table. Except he was threatening to disembowel our very neatly packaged recycling bin bags and spread them over the pavement so that all the neighbours could get a very accurate display of our lifestyle and food choices. But today I heard him shuffling about and I went to look at him and he just stared at me from between the food bin and the wall while shuffling around looking for some jars. He wasn't even scared, he didn't even walk away. So the battle goes on. This is the lockdown drama, folks. This is where we're at. And all because people won't stop feeding the stupid birds. How can you still be hungry? I've seen you eat 8 loaves of bread. But anyway, what I was saying was, right from the moment we moved in, we spotted rats in the garden that were just hanging out, having a lovely time. And then the rats started to come into our house under the sink. So they couldn't get like into our actual house, into the kitchen, but they could get behind this ledge and into our drawer where we keep the bin bags, and they'd nibble it all up and they'd take it away to put into some kind of nest. So our letting agent's called a rat man, and the rat man informed us that apparently this has always been an issue in this house because we have a hole in the side of our wall that's right next to a drain that goes directly into the sewer. Oh, great, thanks. So Ratman does his thing, which makes me really sad, but as renters we don't really have that much control over how they choose to deal with pests. I just don't even really like seeing them as pests, because I had 2 little dwarf hamsters when I was younger, and any kind of rodent, as soon as I look into its little eyes, I'm just like, my babies, and I want to keep them safe. Even if it has just come up from the stinky, stinky sewer. Like, as long as nature lives outside of the house, I can live in harmony with it. But then when nature comes into the house and chews on our furniture and nibbles on the wires of our household appliances and pees all over the kitchen floor, the harmony dissolves. So Ratman does his thing, and then a different guy comes around and fills the hole with concrete. Like, fuck knows why that wasn't done before. Problem solved though, right? No, because what we've recently discovered is that he didn't fill the hole, he filled a bit of the hole, but the hole remains, and so does the sewer. Obviously. So we have rats coming into our house again, and at first they were just behind that little ledge, but then apparently there's a little gap that they can climb over, and they've just been hanging out in the kitchen. And we mainly see them congregating around the bit in the garden that has the drain that leads to the sewer, and what's recently happened is the rats have somehow taken the cover of that drain and just made it disappear. I don't know where they've put it. Like, I was gonna say iron. I don't think it's made of iron. It's not like a proper manhole cover. It's just a little drain. But it's gone. So where have they taken it? How have they taken it? I don't know. So that's gone, and they're just nipping in and out. So Ratman comes back. Sorry that I'm calling him Ratman. And he tells us that apparently, because of lockdown, because there's been so much less litter in the streets of the city, loads of rats that normally stayed in the sewer and just nipped out into the corners of the city to get it, they're just coming up and wandering around. And it's also, obviously, particularly a much bigger issue for us because we have a hole in the side of our house next to the sewer. So he puts down some traps for the little rats, which are not nice. The only say that we did get in it is he asked us in the moment and we said that we just didn't want poison put down because I know that the poison is really not nice for them. And the poor ratty. But we kind of had a theory that maybe we could work around the traps and try and catch the rats humanely and then just like get them away. Get out, sir. Now, I would like to preface this with the fact that this story has a sad ending. This is unfortunately a story of us trying to be as humane as possible with a rat, but ultimately failing because we didn't have a good enough plan. But with the request of some advice, it is my hope for a future plan. So Shane was walking towards the kitchen and just saw a rat leisurely making its way across the kitchen floor. Like, excuse me, sir, this is not your home. So we went to chase it, hoping it would go out the way it came in, but it didn't. It ran into like the back kind of utility room that we have.
I don't want to.
I saw him!
Wouldn't it be so great if you ran up here? Because I'd be like,
Yeah, what if we could trap in the other end of that? If you put the lid on one end, we could put it upright and then trap him in that end. That's a good plan. But you'd have to lift it upright straight away, and what if it spots?
Well, he would probably go at the side.
He'd run down the and I'd have enough time to like.
Okay, I'm gonna move
Yeah,
it.
he's
You
gonna
ready? I'm so scared! Oh no, Adam's green screen. What if he green screens himself into space? The stick is too long. It was literally...
Oh, there he is.
Shady's biting his shoe!
He's gonna get out now. No, he's gone underneath the jacket.
Oh, maybe he'll go in the tube now if we flip it round. Is the other end sealed, Aaron?
Yeah, I think he might run back into the utility room then, so I don't know. I'd rather have him out.
Yeah!
Oh,
He's in there! He's in there!
Is he going?
He's in! Lift it! Is he in there?
Quick, where's the lid?
Where's the lid? I don't know!
Oh, mission accomplished!
Oh my god.
What do we do?
I don't know!
Do we put him outside by the river?
I
don't mean to shout!
I'm so scared!
I can't believe that word.
How long would it take him to nibble his way out there?
Rat energy.
Oh my god!
We got gaffer tape, so we can gaffer tape it shut.
Yeah.
That will suffocate him, so let's probably
No, all the way around, just to hold the lids on slightly.
He should be okay. It's taped on that end as well.
Oh my god.
I can't believe that word.
That's
Are you
crazy.
serious?
Can't believe it went in the tube.
Well, it's just like, oh, a little dark crevice that I can escape to, because that's all it was looking for.
Yeah, so weird that it went into the blanket.
It didn't realise yet that door was open, because it's probably not used. It's probably walks around our kitchen all the time. And isn't actually used to the door being open. We got this cardboard tube that a poster had come in, put a lid on one end, flipped it up, so we were just holding like a rat parcel. Like, great, step one worked shockingly well, but we didn't have a step two. So I was frantically like doing research, finding out as much as I could to try and help the rat. And all my research told me that apparently rats have really good geography of the sewers of a city for like a good few miles. So if you're gonna relocate them, you need to relocate them really far away, otherwise they'll just find their way back to your house. But then also it was lockdown, there's no petrol in my car, and even if there was,
we weren't legally really allowed to drive anywhere. And plus we had it in a cardboard tube, so we were very aware that at any moment it could just nibble its way out. And I just didn't like the image of a rat running around my car while I'm gunning it down the dual carriageway. And then Ratman returned to the house and Ratman did his job, which we are living with the guilt of every day. I'm tearing up about the rat. So I have a plan, right? I'm committed to saving the rats from the Ratman's traps. So the rat catch in theory works, right? And to ensure the safety of any future rats, should we manage to catch them, we're gonna need like a plastic drain pipe type tube that is similarly sealable on both ends without being airtight, obviously. But this is where I need some help, okay? Question number 1, should we put like some stuffing in the tube, like some comfort, like bedding stuff? And 2, now that we're allowed to drive more than a couple of miles away, where should we relocate said rat if we catch it? Because I read a lot of conflicting information about whether you should put them near a river or not near the river, or whether the weather could make them ill. If it's a city rat, will it survive okay, not in the city? Because all I know is that you need to move them considerably far away because they know the geography of sewers very well, which is very impressive, and all the more reason that I feel really guilty. But then, like, do they know their little rat friends? Would they miss them if they were far away? If we catch one, should we wait and try and entice another one into there with it and relocate them together? Because if so, I don't know if I can solve this problem. Or will a rat just make friends with any other rat it encounters on its journey? Please help me be kind to rats. I don't really want to leave you on such a sad note. So, to cheer you up, I would like to share with you some organisation that I did recently. We have had for a long time a really big mess of tools in loads of different cupboards that are really hard to root through, and then about 12 jars full of all different nails and screws and nuts and bolts that are impossible to pair up. But then I bought this drawer divider for 50% off in Bargain Corner, and it fit perfectly. So I ended up hyper-focusing on it for several hours, and I created this beauty. Ooh, so tooly. Yeah. Just don't look in this drawer. So there you go. Use that as inspiration for your tool drawers. Please give me advice on how to save the rats. And yes, goodbye.